Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. I'm going to show you how to install this smart switch from TP-Link. This is Amazon's #1 selling smart switch. We're going to hook it up to our Amazon Alexa, but we're going to take out the old switch first. So that's going to be the first video. The second video I'm going to do, I'll show you how to hook it up to your Amazon Alexa. So here's the switches on Amazon. You get 3 of them for $60, but it's got a $10 coupon. And here's what they look like. Okay, so on the new switch, we're going to have to figure out where the load wire is and where the line is. But we also got to tie into the neutral. That's what the white wire is for, which most switches normally don't have a neutral going to the switch, but hopefully it's in the box. And then we're going to have to tie the green wire onto the ground. So here's some of the tools I used: a cordless screwdriver, wire strippers, needle nose, a multi-point screwdriver that can do Phillips and straight slot, and a voltage tester. So we bought these new LED recessed lights. We put 5 of them in this room, and we're going to control it with that new switch. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure the circuit breaker is pulled for this switch. Okay, so I've got the breaker pulled for this. We're going to take this cover off, and I'm going to use a voltage tester to make sure that the wires don't have power on them. So the first thing you want to do with a voltage tester is you want to check it on an actual known good circuit. Okay, so my live wires are right there on the side of the switch, so we're going to check. I've got no voltage on either one, but I'm going to have to find out which one's the live one and which one comes from the circuit breaker and which one goes up to the lights. Okay, so I turned the breaker back on. This one's got power, this one doesn't. And when I turn the switch on, the top one has power. So I know this bottom wire is coming from the circuit breaker panel and that top wire is going to the light. That's going to be important. Okay, so I went back out and pulled the breaker again, and I've got no power on either wire. Okay, so a great tool to have is these little cordless screwdrivers. They're like 17 bucks. They work great for doing this type of stuff. So we're just going to take these. Okay, so I've got the 2 screws out, and then we can pull this out. There's the 2 black, these are called the hot wires. Now I know, remember, this bottom one here comes from the circuit breaker panel. So I'm going to put a piece of tape on that. With these older switches, it doesn't matter which one goes where. But on this new switch, we need to know which one comes from the circuit breaker panel. So I'm going to take these 2 wires off, and then I've got my ground wire here I'm going to take off. Okay, so I've got the 2 hot wires off, and you may have to these may be wrapped around the screw, so you may have to get a pair of needle nose and help uncurl it off the thing. So we're going to straighten these out, because we're going to be using wire nuts for the ground, and these we're going to straighten out too. So depending on how brittle that wire is there, you may just want to, we can cut this off, cut those curls off, and then just strip ourselves some new wire. So here I've got the switch, and it says the load. So this is going to be the wire, kind of the reddish one that goes to the light, and this one says line, and this is the one coming from the circuit breaker panel. Then I've got this white one, it says neutral. So in this box I do have my neutrals. So there's my white wires. They weren't used for the previous switch, but I'm going to undo this wire nut, and I've got to put this wire inside there. It comes pre-tinned, ready to go. And then the green one I'm just going to attach to my bare neutral there with a wire nut. I like to use these brown wire nuts. It does come with 2 wire nuts in the package. That's what they look like, but again, I like to use these brown ones that I have. So let's get the black wires ready for stripping. And I know this is a number 12 wire. And I need to strip about that much, maybe a little bit more, because when it goes in, it's going to go in like that. So we're going to strip just a little bit more. We don't want any of that plastic underneath the screw. So I've got my black wires ready to go. Now I'm going to attach the white wire. And you're simply going to unscrew this. And then you're going to insert your white one. And then tighten this down. Now I've got a great tool for this. This is from Ideal. This is an Ideal screwdriver. And it's got this end here that tightens wire nuts really, really easy. You can get them super duper tight, so that's good. Now I'm going to attach this one. So now these two wires I want to tuck down back into the box. So I'm going to leave my black wires where they're kind of sticking out still, and I want to start tucking because this switch is kind of big and I got to make some room for it. So tuck those back in there, and then tuck the white one back in there. Yeah. So you just have your black one sticking out. Now this one, it's a little confusing, but it's installed like this. So the dimmer buttons are at the top and the big buttons at the bottom. Keep the cover off because you've got a reset button here and a restart button here. We're going to need to get access to those. So again, this is the one that goes to the light. This is the one that goes to the load. So I'm going to unloosen that one. So again, this one's the line, so I'm going to loosen it. Now I want you to see there's a washer that's got like two little openings. So we're going to install it. You can install it in either one, but see how I've got it installed? There's no plastic underneath that washer, and we're going to tighten this down. Now you want it pretty good and tight, but you can also strip it out. There, so it's stopped. Now we're going to do the same thing for this one. I know that wire is going to the lights. I'm going to loosen it. And I'm going to put it in on the left side. Get that washer to come away. Tighten it down. Okay, it's stopped. Okay. So now I've got my switch ready to install. But it makes you think you're installing it this way, but you're not. You got to turn it yet. So we want to be real gentle with the wires. Okay. And then we're going to kind of put a loop in the wires so that when you push it in, they kind of collapse on themselves. Just take your time with this, pushing it in. You don't want to just ram it in. So just kind of push it in first, okay? Then line the screws up and put the screws in. Okay, so now it's time to put the screws in. And I know the switch is going to fit in the hole because I've already kind of been pushing on it, making sure it fits. Now this outer white cover, see these two little bitty screws? If this is a single gang box, you're going to leave that little white piece on. But if you've got multiple switches here with one big cover, you're going to take these little screws off, and then this little plastic piece will come off. So I've got the switch installed. These are just snaps. Like I said, these are going to snap on. But I'm going to leave it off because we've got to get to these little buttons down here. There's a reset button we've got to hit because there's going to be Wi-Fi inside here. Okay, so I went and turned the breaker back on, and this little light flashes. And you just press the button and it turns the lights on. And you just press it again, it turns them on. And then here's your dimmer. And it's got a nice little display, shows you how dim the lights are. So these are these new LED can lights. They go really dim. You can get these off of Amazon, and they go really bright. And then just turn it off and turn it on. There was another thing on this switch, so if you double tap it when the lights are on, it turns the lights off really slow. I'm not sure I'm ever going to use that feature, but it's kind of a neat feature. And then one other feature about this switch, so say somebody likes to turn them on dim, and and they leave and they turn them off. If you hold press it, it turns them on bright automatically. So that no matter what dimming setting it was on, they'll always be full bright. So this is the conclusion of this video. I'm going to do another video now on how to download the app and how to hook them up to your Alexa. If you could, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.